Today we are going to see like how to install Oracle Apex into AWS RDS. So we are going to start from scratch, and then we'll provision like now the AWS Apex complete installation from ground zero to all the way to a working demo of Oracle Apex in AWS RDS. To start with the architecture, what we're going to discuss is like now this is the architecture. Basically, we will be having like three tiers: database tier, app tier, and web tier. So the database tier is where we will be actually having the AWS RDS Oracle SC2 instance. So for demo, we are actually going to deploy one database, but in production setting, you may have like two databases acting as a failover mechanism. And so basically what we are going to do is we are going to provision a new VPC with that said cider range, and then we are going to provision like two different subnets within two different availability zones. And on the DB tier we will be having the database over here, and the app tier we will be having like not one two application servers. So for this demo I'm going to provision only one app server, but in production setting you can have like two app servers also in a different availability zone, so that there will be failover happens. And the load balancer will be sitting on the web tier like on top of these two application servers. This will be deployed in two availability zones, and also with using the two different subnets. And so the way it happens is like at the end of the demo what we're going to see is like users will be connecting it from web using port 80 to the load balancer, and load balancer is only allowed to actually send the traffic back and forth to the app servers. And the app servers will be actually talking to the databases to get Oracle Apex data back and forth. At the end of the demo we will see like some security aspects where the database can be only accessed through the app servers, and the app servers can be only accessed through the load balancer. There will not be any internet connectivity to app server or database. That's what we're going to see at the end of the thing. So the only load balancer will be connected from the internet, and also load balancer is going to actually facilitate all these things. Okay, so this architecture we will actually going to replicate like from the ground zero all the way to a working model. So let's get started. Okay, to start with, let's first thing first, let's go and create provision a VPC. So I'm clicking on the VPC, my AWS console. I'm in Northern Virginia region, and I'm going to VPC section, and then basically like what I'm going to do is I'm going to provision a new VPC, create a new VPC here, and I'm going to call this one as Apex VPC with a CIDR range of 10.0.0.0.16, no IPv6, default tenancy, and tags. That's fine. So create a VPC. So the VPC is created, and then on the VPC is basically one thing I need to do is I need to basically enable the DNS host name and DNS resolution. So let's go ahead and click on the DNS host name, enable the DNS host name, and also just make sure the DNS resolution also is enabled. So that's good. Next thing is the next step is creating the internet gateway, so that our VPC has some internet connectivity. So let's go ahead and create an internet gateway called Apex IGW. Okay, create the internet gateway. Good. So once the internet gateway is created, we have to basically associate this to attach to the VPC. So let's go ahead and attach to the VPC. That is done. The next thing is actually we are going to create two subnets. Create a subnet, and I'm going to call this one as node subnet 1. Okay, and we're going to pick the VPC of here, the VPC which we have created, availability zone. Let's go ahead and create this in availability zone 1, and with a CIDR range of 10, let's see, let's pick 10.0.1.0.24. Okay, create it. And then the same way we are going to create a new subnet. Before that, let's go ahead and basically modify an auto assign IP address setting. So we'll be actually doing the enable auto assign public IPv4 addresses. So let's go ahead and do that one, so that the instances which are going to provision here have the public IP addresses. So that is done. So let me go ahead and create a new subnet. I believe so. Nodes, we'll call this as node subnet 2. Okay, and this is a VPC. and I'm going to put it in availability zone B, 1B, US East 1B, and the cider range I'm going to say is like 10, 0, 2, 0, 24. Okay. And then here, like in the same way, like we are going to basically like no modify the RTOS and IP address also, like on the subnet 2 also. Subnet 2 also, that modify the RTOS and IP address to enable the public IPv4 addresses. So that part is done, and then now the next step is like routing table. So we have to associate the route. So we have already have a default route table. Basically, let me call this as Apex. Let me call this as Apex route table RT. Okay. And then on this route table, basically like what we're going to do is we're going to add the routes. So one thing is we have to create a route to the internet gateway. So let's go ahead and create a route to the internet gateway. While I'm here, I'm also going to do the subnet association. So edit subnet association. Now we're going to pick these two subnets which we have created and associate. And yeah, that part is done. Okay. Now next part is actually security groups, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to replicate. We are basically replicating this architecture. So we have just to summarize, like we have created this VPC, and we have created like two subnets, one subnet and two subnets, and then we have created like necessary like route tables, like internet gateway and stuff like that. Now what we need to do is we need to make sure like the security groups are set up. So we will be actually ultimately will be creating three security groups. One is actually to allow the connection to the database over the port 1521, and the second one is to allow the connection to the database app server over the port 8080, and third one is to actually allow the traffic to load balancer over port 80. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and create the security groups basically. So we have we go to here the security group section, and okay, all right. So creating a security group. First one we're going to call this as what we're going to call this one. Let's say like Apex DB security group. We're going to call that one, and let me copy the same thing here. So the intention is actually to make this have only inbound rules from the 1521 port, right? So that's why I'm going to say like 1521 port range, and from anywhere. For now, we will actually put it as anywhere. That the reason is actually we need to make sure that the database which we are going to provision is properly provisioned or not, and also we need to actually execute some of the procedures or like some grants scripts also. So that's the reason I'm actually allowing it to for the setup purpose itself. I'm allowing it to actually connect to from the internet, but eventually we'll actually restrict it to get it only from the app servers. Okay, create the security group. First one is created. So let me also call this one to just to make sure like okay, and let me create a new security group called Apex Listener Security Group. Okay, and this is for the app tier, so that we will actually have only like connectivity on the port 8080. From for now we'll actually say like anywhere. Okay, let's go anywhere, and then we also need to actually like SSH into the instance eventually, like whatever we are going to provide provision the EC2 instance which we are going to provision, we need to SSH also. That's why on the port range 22 also let's go ahead and put anywhere. Okay, so but we'll actually come back and restrict it to get only from the load balancer eventually. Okay, so that is done, and so let's go ahead and do the third one also. Let me copy this and name this as listener security group. Okay, and create the this is third one is like for the load balancer. Okay, the load balancer. Okay, the inbound rule we wanted to actually like listen on the port 80 from anywhere, and that's it. So let's also like go back and go back and basically like rename that as a load balance security group. Okay, all right. So coming back here, so we have set up like three security, one security group here, one security group for this one, and one security group for port 80. Okay. All right. So the next step is going back to like now our RDS console now. So we are going to get started with actually creating our Oracle database SC2 in RDS. So let's go ahead and do that one. So to start with, like, first thing is we need to basically create a subnet group. So create a subnet groups, basically what we call this one as, um, let's call this as Apex subnet group. Okay, Apex subnet group, and we'll call this as and that will give the same description, and the VPC we are going to pick the default VPC which we have created. Availability zones we have like let's pick two of them, and then also like associate two subnets. Okay, creating. And once that is done, we have to actually also create like an options group. I have a one option group. Let me try to delete that one. Okay, and I'll create a new options group. So we'll so basically this option, the concept of the option group is like, this is where we are going to specify like what are the options which we are need to give for the RDS provisioning process to create. Like for example, like do you, when the database is provisioned, do you want to provision like Apex also, or like if you want to provision like some kind of utilities for the S3 integration also, so something like that, right? So what we're going to say is like name, we'll go select Apex option group, for example. We're going to call that one as Apex option group, and description also will put the same thing. And engine, see here what we are doing is we are going to provision Oracle SC2 with the latest version created. And within this options group, basically we are going to add like some options. Basically first is actually Apex option, Apex with the latest version of the Apex, and apply immediately. Okay, the same way we are going to add like a couple of more options to this one called Apex dev. And third option we're going to add is like for the S3 integration. This S3 integration is not mandatory, but just in case if you basically like create some kind of Apex applications which store the data into S3 buckets, this will come in handy eventually. But for now, let's select this one also and apply immediately. Okay, choose version 1.0 and add option. So the option group also is created. Okay, so the next step is like going and provisioning the RDS instance basically. So let's go to the databases and then start creating the database. So we are going to pick the standard create, and we're going to pick the database called database Oracle, and the version we are going to pick is Oracle standard SC2. Okay, there are two flavors: bring your own license or license included. So if you have license included, there will be a little bit more charge, but I think that's actually makes you license compliant also, right? So we are going to take the license included Oracle database only. Okay, so the license included, and then we're gonna pick like the latest version. That's fine. So here the production means like we the RDS will already like provisioning process will give you the option to create like two different RDS instances in different availability zones, so for the high availability and disaster recovery purposes. But for now, like we are just going to demo it, so that's why now let's go ahead and select the dev test. Okay, and the DB instance identifier I'm going to call it as Oracle. And admin password, let me pick like admin password. All right, so let's see. Yeah, I picked a password so that I can remember like in the future. So like re-enter the password, and then we are going to pick the burstable classes and T3 small, what is the smallest available, just so that our cost is low for this demo purpose. And general purpose SSD allocated storage 20 is fine. No auto scaling of the storage, and do not create a standby because this is a disaster demo. Connectivity is like whatever the VPC which we have provisioned here, so that's one. And additional connectivity options like the subnet group whatever we have created. So this subnet group has like two subnets. Okay, subnet 1 and subnet 2 which we have created. So, and also like we will give the public access, so that we can actually like connect to the database and see whether the database is actually properly provisioned or not. And also we need to execute some of the packages and grants also to for like properly installing Oracle Apex and the ORDS. Okay, And VPC security group, we're going to choose the existing one. So what we're going to do is like, we are going to pick the DB security group. The reason is actually DB security group is the one which is allowing the connectivity to the database over port 1521. So let's go ahead and select that 1521 allowed DB security group. Let me remove the default. Availability zone, let's go ahead and put in 1A for now, and database port is 1521, and database authentication is a password authentication. And additional configurations, like the initial database name, I'm going to say like Oracle again. And DB parameter group is this one. Default one option group is actually like, we are, so this is where we are going to associate what, when the RDS is actually provisioned, we need to have the Apex also, Apex database schema and all those prerequisites actually like need to be installed. So that's why, that's where we specified, like, we specified Apex Dev and S3 integration. That's the option group which we are picking. Character set is default, that's fine. Enable automatic backup, that's fine. We're gonna keep the retention period of 1 day only. Backup window, no preference. Copy tag snapshots, that's fine. Enable encryption, we're gonna pick the default AWS RDS encryption, that's fine. Retention period is fine. Monitoring is fine. All those things is good. Enable auto minor version upgrade, we don't want any like minor version upgrades also, so let's keep it as like unchecked. Maintenance window, if you want like AWS to pick only like certain maintenance windows, for example from midnight from 12 to 4, you can specify that window, but for now we pick the no preference. Enable delete protection, if you select this one, like you will not be able to delete RDS like until you come back and uncheck this one. So for now we are going to uncheck this one, because this after this demo I'm going to delete this database anyways. So this is actually like estimate monthly cost for the settings which we have selected. So let's go ahead and accept that one and create database. So this create database process will actually like take anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. So let's wait for 30 to 40 minutes, or like let's go ahead and create the app server side also. Just to summarize, like we have done this part, okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to actually create the app servers also. Okay, for the app servers creation, let's launch over to our EC2 console. Okay, I'm going to the EC2 console. I don't have any running instances basically. I think I have some security groups. Yeah, the security groups which we have created are showing up over here. That's good. EC2 dashboard, like now I'm going to click on the running instances. I'm going to launch instance. Okay, and let's pick like one of Linux instance which is free tier eligible. So let's go and select that. Let's go ahead and select that one, and we're going to pick the free tier eligible T2 micro. Next, coming to the configuration details, the network is actually like VPC what we created. So, and subnet is node subnet 1. Let's go ahead and pick the node subnet 1. But in production setting, you will be actually picking like two instances. One is in node subnet 1 and the second one will be in the node subnet 2. But for demo, like let's only create one instance with the node subnet 1. And so basically remember, like we specified the subnet 1 setting as like auto assign IP. That's why the default is coming from the subnet setting, which is actually enabled to public assign the auto assign the public IP address. So we need this IP address so that we can actually SSH into this instance and configure our ORDS and install like our Tomcat also. Okay, so everything is good. Next, add storage. Pick the default add storage. That's fine. Tags not needed for now. We are going to actually pick the security group. Which security group, right? So basically we have three. So the second one is a listener. Listener is the one which is actually listening on the port 8080. So let's go ahead and select the listener group. So remember, like listener group is actually listener security group is basically allowing access to this instance over port 8080 and also port 22. Port 22 we need for the SSH into this instance to set up. Port 8080 for like validating our installation after everything is done. Okay, and review and launch. So that is good. All right, so let me go ahead and launch. So this is a key pair, so we need this key pair for just making sure we are able to basically connect to this instance. So this only happens only once. So let's make sure download the key pair. So create a new key pair and also download the key pair. Okay, so after this point you won't be having this key pair, so you have to basically recreate a new instance basically if you if you forgot to download the key pair. So let's make this as Apex key pair. Name it as Apex key pair and basically download the key pair. So I have downloaded the key pair, and let's go ahead and launch the instance. Okay. Okay, let's go back and see what's the status. Right now it's actually pending, so it's still provisioning. So let's give it maybe a minute or so that it will come online. Okay. Okay, now the instance is running. So it has a public IP address also is allocated, and public DNS name also is allocated. But the problem is here. This instance actually doesn't have an elastic IP. The reason is that means when you basically bring this instance down and bring it back, or reboot the instance, this public IP addresses will change, right? So to make the public IP addresses constant, let's go ahead and issue an elastic IP. So I'm going to the elastic IP, allocate an elastic IP for that region from the Amazon's pool of IPv4 addresses. So we have created elastic IP, and now we are going to associate that to our instance, right? So we are going to associate to the instance which is running, and pick the private IP addresses, and let's not select that, allow this to be reassociated. So let's go ahead and associate that one. Okay. So now if we go back to our EC2 instance, the EC2 instance will be basically having your new elastic IP, and the public IP address is that elastic IP addresses, and also DNS name is also updated. Okay. So we will be needing this public DNS name. So for SSH into this instance, so let's go ahead and copy that guy. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically just bring up my mobile xterm, and then basically connect to that instance, just to make sure we are able to connect to that instance or not. Okay. So I'm going to say SSH. Okay, let me first actually go to my privacy. Okay. And let me see what are the files I have here. So I have this is a key pair which we have just created. So let's make sure now we are able to SSH into this instance or not. So I'm picking that key pair. Okay. And the default user is EC2 user. Great. And let's go back and pick our recopy our public DNS name, and then put it here. Try to actually, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to SSH into this instance, and yeah, I'm successfully able to SSH. The reason is actually our security group also is allowing the on the port 22, right? So that's why we are able to allow connect. So let me go ahead and exit. Okay. And the things what we need to do is basically we need to so let's go back and look at what are the software. So we need three softwares, but basically one is SQL CL. The reason why and SQL CL and Apex and ORDS, the reason why we need the SQL CL is basically we need to make sure our Apex EC2 instance is actually able to connect from this whatever the EC2 to the RDS instance which we are going to provision from the EC2 instance itself. That's why now we are able to actually connect to this using the SQL cell, where we are trying to reach over to the RDS from the EC2 instance. Okay. And Apex and ORDS softwares, we need to basically install those for Apex to work, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically SCP these three softwares into EC2 instance. So let's go ahead and do that one, and I believe I have my okay, let me copy it again here. I'll come here, and there's basically where we want to do is home EC2 user. Okay, that's where we wanted SCP. So let's go ahead and SCP that one. Okay. We are transmitting the file, the zip file basically. Okay, that is done, and while we are here, let's go ahead and basically transmit the other stuff also, which is actually Apex and ORDS also. So let's pick that. Okay, let's see. So it's called Apex underscore 20 zip file that is being sent. The same way we are going to send the SCP also. So I mean ORDS also. So let's go ahead and do this. Okay. CP RDS CC2 CP minus I. Okay, I did not give the key pair, that's why. So let's copy this one. Okay, so we are basically like transmitting all the softwares back to the EC2 instance. Okay. Okay, all are done. So let's go ahead and SSH back into that instance. Okay. Okay. Clear. And I'm the EC2 user, so let's go ahead and sudo into my root. Okay. First of all, let's see like if there are any updates. Looks like there are none. So first thing first, we have to basically go ahead and create a non-privileged Apex user. So for that, I'm using that command user add home Apex user, and let's go ahead and change the password also for the Apex user. This is a OS user, and I'm picking a password. Type the password. Okay, the password is installed. Okay, now the next step will be actually while we are in root, we have to install the Java also, right? So because Java is what is essential required prerequisite. So let's go ahead install Java. I'm going to say yes here. Yeah, Java is installed. Let's go ahead and yeah, Java installed. So let's go ahead and check the Java version also here. So Java version. Okay. All right. So that's the version which we have installed. So after the Java is installed, let's go ahead and copy our the softwares, right? So the softwares are actually like moved to EC2 user. Let's go ahead and move it to the under the Apex user. That is SQL CL, and this is my Apex. Okay, and then we're gonna do the ORDS also once that is done. Okay, all right. So this is ORDS. Okay. So all the softwares are actually moved to the Apex user. Now let's go ahead and change mode to everything like which is under the Apex user to give the enough permissions. Okay. All right. So that is done. Now I'm going to actually like SU as Apex user to get myself ready for installing like just making sure like the RDS is being able to connect it properly to verify that, and also like to install the ORDS also. Okay. So for that, now our RDS instance, whatever actually like being provisioned right now by the AWS need to be available. So let's go ahead and check like what is the status on our AWS instance, right? So I'm going to the RDS console. DB instance. So right now it's still backing up, so it's not ready for like for us to actually like go ahead and connect to this database instance. So let's wait for a few minutes and then we'll come back and pick it up.